and welcome to Rauta's Reviews. Today's band and album in question is not so much a pure metal release as it's kind of a fusion of rock and roll or certain type of rock, as well as it's kind of a combination of different ideas taken outside from rock and metal music. The band in question is Pain of Salvation from Sweden and their 11th album called Panther. As you can see, the version which we have here for review is a beautiful DIGIBOOK release. Very thick, features two CDs, one of the main ones featuring this one, CD1, about 54 minutes, and then an MCD which is something like 15 minutes and then some seconds. As you can see, this second one has a couple of tracks which are already on the main CD, that is two demo versions, plus a couple of bonus tracks, of which Fifi Gruffi is a very weird one. Since I started with that, I might mention that it's quite a peculiar track of being combined of different kind of samples rather than your typical song, and as such I guess it's kind of makes sense it's there as a bonus track versus being a normal track included in the album. But other than that, one might only wonder why there is need for two CDs, especially when this is a mini CD. By the way, really cool transparent ones. I haven't seen these kind of CDs previously. So very cool design. So since this is overall just about 70 minutes, they both could just well fit on a single album. I don't know why they decided to go this way. Anyway, I'm gonna quickly browse this beautiful book because it features so many pages. So if I would be spending way too much time on each page, this would take some 20 minutes to go through. Anyway, as you can see, we have lyrics here. We have some really beautiful art to make up for this digital release, or DIGIBOOK release, not so much digital release. And we have this Panther theme going on here throughout the most of the DIGIBOOK here. Lots of cool art, really. I don't know if that all makes so much sense unless you're already familiar with the theme and the album, but definitely a kind of a version which should be mandatory for any big fan out there. So as you can see, all these Panther themes are very much present here with various images. So it's all about being about Panther, both lyrical and otherwise. And obviously you have these lyrics and recording information along these pages, plus some really cool art. So once again, this is the version I would go for if I was a big fan of the band and collector of cool versions. I don't know why would anybody choose regular CD over this one. Now that we've gone through this very nice looking packaging, something that I hope would be more common in so many other bands, let's take a look at the band's Metal Archive site. As you can see, Pain of Salvation has been there almost 30 years, or even more if we count the previous version to be included in the history. But Pain of Salvation started in early 90s, did one demo in 1996, probably other ones which are not listed here, who knows, and then proceeded to creating their music. And as you can see, the genre is here listed as progressive rock / metal. And it's kind of interesting because I was reading one of my colleagues' review on this Panther while I was listening to him and making my own mental notes, and he was a fan of this album, but still not giving it more than 6 out of 10. And it seems like his reasoning was that he was fan of this early material here, which is, it seems, quite different. Now, I'm not really well versed with this band, so take this review from somebody who doesn't know all these albums, who is like more like a guest to this kind of music rather than your regular fan. So obviously my point is very different from those of those fans who are like more well versed with the recent releases of the band. And the The funny thing is, I don't really disagree with my colleague who did this written review of the band giving 6 out of 10 because, to be honest, this is quite a diverse album with a lot of different ideas and elements, which then again don't always blend together that well. Now, to begin with the metallic parts, because that's obviously why people are here, why people would be watching these reviews, like, so is it kind of a metal nut? Just blurt it out. And I would say mostly not. Now, there are some heavy guitar work, which could be seen as a kind of a progressive metal parts. But to be honest, it's mostly sort of a progressive rock, or like somebody could say, maybe it's certain kind of art rock. Now, there are parts when the band just goes beyond the normal avant-garde stuff and tries to experiment in various ways. This includes, but it's not limited to, for example, hip-hop kind of parts. To be honest, rap kind of vocals. And while some people are totally like, oh yeah, this is so cool that these guys are doing whatever they want, that's exactly what art is all about. Go beyond boundaries, break some doors if you need to, and go beyond the unexpected. And some people don't like it because it's gonna be like, hey, I wanted this, like this band because it's like progressive metal. But since it's not so much progressive metal anymore, you might be just staring at a motherfucker who is not the type of person you were looking for. Say, I'm gonna take this weird comparison. You dated this girl in high school. Then some years passed and your travels took you different places. Some 10 years later you're like, hey, I'm gonna still date her. But it's not her anymore, it's a guy. No, nothing wrong with that, obviously, if you just need to do that. But my point here is, it might be a different version of the person you used to know, much as this is the different band you used to know. So in case you just happen to skip a lot of these albums between the early parts and this one, you might be in for a big surprise, and not necessarily a nice one. Then again, it might be exactly that. That is, if you found these early ones like way too metallic, way too heavy and all that stuff, you wanted some lighter, you wanted some more artsy-fartsy stuff. Well, this could be exactly the nice surprise you were hoping for. So this is definitely more a progressive rock release with lots of artsy pieces, artsy elements, artsy ideas. It is definitely not limited to hip-hop parts. It's definitely limited to these weird sample tracks. It's just going all over the place. As if you're making splashes with your painting. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just see how it goes. Some people are definitely for this. So to put it kind of a short comparison, this is kind of like modern art painting. Some people just drool all over it and are ready to like, take my money, I want to have it, whatever it takes, like millions. And some people are like, no way, I'm not gonna buy a painting with the blue dot on this white canvas and nothing else. I want some old-fashioned traditional art. So obviously, Pain of Salvation is gonna divide people into two major groups, those who get it and those who don't. And those who don't get it probably even don't want to get it. They're like, this is just way too weird, way too progressive, way too artsy for my taste. And the rest are like, dude, you're just not getting it. You're way too old-fashioned. And it's all cool. That's what we like in art. That's what we like in music and every form of art. It will speak to you in some ways you're not ready for. Sometimes it's pure crap. Sometimes it's just great. And Pain of Salvation, it's gonna do it different ways than so many other bands. Definitely for fans only and those with really open mind for like, hey, I like all types of music, from power violence to raw black metal, from pop music to rap to country to reggae and so forth. You get the idea. Anyway, should you be a fan of this band, get this version unless you have already gotten one. Maybe you need two anyway because you're a fan. And those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go to listen to this music on your favorite streaming services or go to your local record store and listen to this for yourself. Maybe it will speak to you in a language you will understand. Maybe you won't. Thanks for watching this review. Take care, my friends, and be well.